Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Well, I'm 9'4", but right now it's taking a moment to calibrate. So I've typed in my blood sugars. This was reading 7.7, so it just needed to be realigned. It's taking a moment, and there it comes. 8.5, 9.4, 8.5. We're doing okay. We're not as tight as we normally are, but that's fine. Kind of had corrections throughout the night. So is it the best? I don't know. I keep sneezing today. Not a cold, and maybe hay fever. It is spring. Okay. So it was not as straight of a line, but you're kind of okay. Current blood sugar, we're at 85% time and range. Easy math here, 15% above leaves 85% time and range because nothing is below. Current is 8.2. So kind of holding, we're kind of a little higher there. But that was because of the 9.4 when I did my finger poke. Still good. Today, I want to discuss the wish pretty much all diabetics wish, and that is, I wish I was never diagnosed. I'll give you my viewpoint. We'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. You know, as a diabetic, we all kind of dream that we were never diagnosed and could live a normal life, could do things all the other kids did without having to do finger pokes, take extra insulin. Oh, stop, hold on, I've got to take my insulin. We all kind of wish it didn't happen, but unfortunately it does. Now I find I went through it a lot of times. This is in the teenage years. Oh, I wish I didn't have diabetes. Oh. But for me, personally, I remember what it was like before getting diagnosed. Those 4 weeks of starting grade 8. We started school in British Columbia just after Labor Day, and I made it till October 7th, so almost exactly a month. And I went from a happy-go-lucky kid to being someone who was sick. And I didn't really think I was ill. I drank an awful lot and had to go to the bathroom a lot. And I kept getting up all night going to the bathroom. But, how do I put this? Sorry, I had to breathe. I was kind of so glad I got diabetes and got diagnosed. What? You're crazy. Boom, boom. Well, I was a fat kid. Unlike svelte the person I am now. Yeah, that's an old joke. I've said it before. But I lost a lot of weight. I went from, I wasn't short, but I was shorter, and it felt like I grew a whole foot. But I slimmed down, so it seemed like I shot up. I don't think I shot. I think I was getting taller anyway. It was the age of puberty. So I lost, within that month, I lost a lot of water weight. And I contribute that to diabetes. Would I wish that on any kid trying to control their weight? Hell no. But for me, I thought it was awesome. And I've said this before. When I went into the hospital, I didn't go in through emergency. I got admitted, and I went in and got a bed. And it was awesome. And my mom spent an awful lot of time at the hospital. I don't know how she got time off work, but she did. And here, this is a neat adventure. They didn't have to start me on an IV, so I wasn't that far into DKA. They started me on insulin pretty damn quick. So I didn't have to go through getting an IV. I didn't have to go through emergency, staying up all night. I was put into a room with a roommate, and I fell asleep. I slept well that first night. It wasn't until later when I learned how to do shots, but it still wasn't a drag. I can remember it took a while to learn how to do shots, and then after that, I always tried to remember to do my shots. And why didn't I just do them all the time? Because life got in the ways, guys. You get up and you get racing for school, and you head out the door to school. Sometimes I would get half the way up, and it was a slight hill to my high school, and realize, oh, and at that point, insulin had to be refrigerated, so you couldn't really carry it around that much. But within the next 5 years after being diagnosed, insulin you could keep out once it's open, and you had 30 days to use it. That became better. But at first, you had to keep it in a refrigerator. And the nurses couldn't keep it in their refrigerator because I don't know, it was some political reason. But here, in my viewpoint, I lost an awful lot of weight. I was starting to feel good about myself. So I started to somewhat exercise. I was never gung-ho, let's go lift weight, but I started running the stairs in the hospital. I would get into the stairwell, And I would go up and I would get my exercise that way. Sometime it was just the best way to do it. I probably, if I had got diabetes younger, I probably would have been able to play with the neighborhood kids a bit more. I was kind of large and I was carrying an awful lot of weight. But, so often people can be cruel. I was picked on in elementary school. So much to the point I never did, but I thought about skipping school, but that was a different. But for me, diabetes was kind of a godsend. Now, I still look on that as changing my life around. When I went back to school, people didn't even realize I was the same person, which kind of I got a kick out of. But grade 9 was a difficult year for me. I kept having severe lows. My body, I guess, was not needing as much insulin as given. And I first went through my first high blood sugar, low blood sugars. And it took a while. I had to go into the hospital to get readjusted. But that was kind of like, oh well, it was a holiday. But I almost failed grade 9 English. I was told I failed it by the teacher because I wasn't there. And I said, well, I wasn't there because I was sick. And he said, well, if you were really interested in your studies, you would have found a way. And I said, you were asked to give extra assignments, and I had to be away to be cared for. He said, nope, sorry, I don't do extra assignments. But looking back on it, it was an adventure. I had a great outcome where I was cared for. And to this day, I never really felt that it was a negative. Since then, diabetes has thrown me for a loop a number of times. But the initial diagnosis, I thought was great. Yeah, I kind of wish I didn't have to give shots. And we'll end this serve with a story. I've said this before on this channel, but it's worth repeating. I had a really old, cantankerous doctor who was, I guess, an endocrinologist or an internist. And I had mentioned how nice it was that my roommate, when he was home and was able to just take pills to keep things in check, I kind of said, I wish I could have a condition like that where I would just have to take pills. It got back to this doctor as I wanted cancer because the gentleman I shared a room with was leukemic, or was suffering from leukemia. And this doctor pulled me into a conference room somewhere and really started yelling at me. It's like, how dare you wish you could have diabetes? Or not diabetes, leukemia. And blah, 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 and would, for about 45 minutes, was yelling and screaming. I did not appreciate that. And I think when I told my mother, I think he was sort of removed from the case because I did not see him again. When I tried to explain, he would have nothing of it. And so that point of it, it wasn't great. That kind of resonated in the back of my mind for years. So, but on the whole, when I was first told I was a diabetic, it was a new adventure. Something I could go and enjoy. The adventure part. I soon learned needles, and then needles just became a snap thing, get it over with. And with that, we're going to call it a good day. Wasn't the strongest video, but diabetes can make a positive change in your life. And with that, have a super day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.